Hello guys and welcome to my channel, and today we are gonna review some of my toughest boss fights that I had in Elden Ring. So here we go. Alright guys, so at number 10 we have Commander Gaius. So basically he's a DLC boss which we can fight basically after we defeat Mesmer. So there are a few bosses that we can fight only after we defeat Mesmer and after we get his secret areas unlocked. So this is one of those fights, and very honestly this was something else. Like, I had a really tough time fighting this boss, and I think I died like 6 to 7 times with my build. So at this point I was level 180. With Scarletry Blessing I would say at level 11 or level 12. But still, this boss gave me such a hard time. Number 9 we have Monk, the Lord of Blood. And guys, let me tell you something, this was not some ordinary fight, because this is the boss that we have to defeat in order to, get his remembrance, but also to, start our DLC journey. So Shadow of Earth Tree, and at this point I was using an intelligence build. So just for the context who haven't watched my streams, I used intelligence build for the main game, the base game, and for the DLC I used faith plus strength. So that's the build that I had for this game, that was intelligence, and it wasn't an easy fight. Like you can see, I died like maybe 10 times during this fight, and that was me when I was like level 160 or 170. So this wasn't some ordinary fight, but I still managed to kill him. Number 8 we have Scarletry Avatar. So once again we jump into DLC, and after defeating Mesmer, this is also one of the bosses that we can fight. And guys, this being a remembrance boss already makes him a lot more tougher, and on the top of it we have to kill him 3 times. So not 2 times, that's exactly right, we have to kill him 3 times. And that's exactly what makes this boss so tough, and we had to add him to the list because this wasn't an ordinary fight. I had to go all out with my Mimic tier, with me being level 180 at this point, with Scarletry Blessing level 12. This still was such a tough fight, and I died like maybe 8 to 9 times. So yeah, that's the thing that makes him tough and on the list. On number 7 we have Metyr, Mother of Fingers. I hope I say that right. So basically this is one of the bosses who is basically claiming to be Mother of all fingers. So all the 2 fingers, 3 fingers that we have in the game, who basically give us all the commands to go against different bosses. So as per my understanding, this is one of those bosses, and guys, again this is a DLC boss that we can fight once we defeat Mesmer. That's right. I do believe I don't have the recording for Mesmer in this video because I defeated him on the stream. So unfortunately he won't be making the list. But most of these bosses and the areas that we have to go through open after we defeat Mesmer. So this is one of those bosses, and guys, as you can see, this Unibeam attack, I don't know what it's called, but this literally killed me around 10 to 15 times. So imagine being this close to defeating the boss and then dying due to that attack. But eventually I made it past those beams and defeated the boss. Number 6 we have Godskin Duo. And guys, if you have played Elden Ring, or if you have seen the clips of Elden Ring, you might have seen this boss for sure. And the reason behind that is the boss is so annoying that even if we kill both of these bosses, we still have to kill them again, because the health bar is still there. And that's the only reason that I had to try around 20 times to kill this boss, because I didn't know that there was a thing called sleeping pots. But eventually I had another gold tier summon, so I didn't have to use those pots because I had a summon, I had my own mimic tier, and that's the only thing that made me kill this boss, because fighting two of these guys at the same time was not easy with me when I was using an intelligence build at this point, because you can reach this boss after killing the fire giant and setting the earth tree aflame. So that's the only thing that makes this boss so tough, because these are tanky bosses, and on top of that we have to fight two of them at the same time, but we managed to defeat them. At number 5 we have another DLC boss, that is Mithra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. And after seeing this, first phase, I was pretty sure that I killed the boss without knowing there is a second phase. And once I came to the second phase, guys, literally after being level 200 at this point, with Skarutri Blessing level 15, I literally died one shot. And after that I had to get serious, and still I died 3 to 4 times before I finally managed to kill the boss. But as you can see, this madness beater fills up so quick that it does not give you a window to even heal up, and that's the only reason that I died so many times. But eventually my mimic tear took some of the fire and I was able to kill the boss. At number 4 we have Dragon Lord plus Sedusax. I hope I said that correct. So once again we jump back to our base game. So in the region of Faramazula, so after defeating the fire giant and after we defeat the Godskin duo, I believe we open this area. So this is one of the hidden areas that I believe 80 to 90% of people don't even know. And that's when I found out that we can actually go back in time and fight Dragon Lord plus Sedusax. So he was the Elden Lord before Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. And as you can see, guys, this fight was crazy. The scale of this fight, the attacks of this boss, they are on another level. And once you bring this boss down to, I believe less than 50% of the health, he actually goes up in the air and starts disappearing. So we have to, time out and plan out his attacks, plan out the area, because as you can see, he has such long ranged attacks that he can easily, kill us with the AoE attacks. So eventually my mimic tier, the goat of the Elden Ring, alongside Torrent of course, managed to take out some of the fire and I was able to defeat the boss. Number 3 we have Radagon, or also at the second phase of the fight known as Elden Beast. So guys, we are finally reaching out to the finale of the base game of Elden Ring, and as you can see we are still at number 3, so we have 2 more spots for one of the toughest boss fights in my opinion for Elden Ring. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you have reached this far in the video. And guys, as you can see, Radagon was no joke, because me using an intelligence build was literally the worst mistake that I could make for this fight, because Radagon can actually pit slap the shit out of our spells. So I had to completely rely on my sword and my mimic tier, the goat, in order to dish out some damage so that I could also attack on my own. And after you defeat Radagon, you still have one of the craziest boss fights ever in the Souls games that I have seen, because this was literally my first Soul game, so I don't have much experience in that. But still, seeing this fight, guys, as you can see, this Elden Beast has such long ranged attacks that it was literally impossible to dodge some of those. And I literally had like a few health bars left, a few health potions left in order to keep myself alive. at this point I was level 170, I believe, and still I died like 25 times just at the second phase. Radagon was still nothing compared to this fight, and that's something that makes this the most toughest fight that I had. And but still, Mimic Tear being the goat took out so much damage for me from Radagon and then from Elden Beast that I was eventually able to kill the beast. Number 2, we have one of the toughest boss fights considered according to most of the Souls players, that is Millennia Blade of Miquella. And trust me guys, the second part of this fight is actually where most of the people not even reach, because this first phase is such an annoying phase because of this literally attack that I just faced and somehow managed to survive because of my Mimic Tear. And guys, this fight was something that took me around 25 to 30 times to just crack the first phase of the fight before I could even reach the second phase. That's how tough the first phase was. But eventually, when I reached the second phase, I died immediately because I had no potions left with me. But eventually, I started to figure out her attacks and eventually kill the boss. And that too with an intelligence build, because this boss is found in the base game of Elden Ring. Guys, before we jump out to number 1, I had two honorable mentions that gave me real hard time in Elden Ring. And the first one was actually the first boss that you face. This one is not a remembrance boss because this one is actually not Margit, it's just a shadow of himself. So this isn't the true boss, but I still died like almost 50 times during this boss fight because I had no clue what to do. I had no perfect build. I had a weapon that was like +2 or +3 at the moment, and I had no clue how to fight this boss. So it took me 50 times and was actually the reason that why it took me such a long time to, finish the game. So that's exactly why he's on the list. And second one on the list for the honorable mentions is the Fire Giant. And the reason that he is on the list is because whoever has played Elden Ring must have definitely died first time on this boss because of all the gimmicks that he has. So basically we have a two-phase boss fight which we eventually have for every other boss, but this one has such large attacks and such large AoE attacks that it almost, makes it impossible for you to, see full scale of his attacks. And also we can just hit on a portion of his body in the first phase. So we have to break off the leg in order to, kill him. And that's exactly the toughest part because you can't see, you can't figure out the movements of the boss. You just have to, rely on yourself and on the moveset that you eventually figure out after you die, like maybe I would say around 10 to 15 times, because that's exactly what happened. I died like almost 15 to 20 times during this boss fight, and after all those gimmicks and after him just casually killing me after I was about to kill him and him one-shotting me most of the time, I eventually figure out the moveset and the safe spots that I can go in order to defeat him, and eventually managed to defeat him after I was out of all the potions and almost about to die again. So this one was purely out of luck that I defeated him, but due to such crazy and such annoying gimmicks, this was one of the toughest boss fights that almost made me, quit Elden Ring. So that's exactly why he's on the list. And guys, before we reach to number 1, and after all the honorable mentions, I still wanted to mention that this boss if I had the recordings, I would have definitely put Mesmer the Impaler and also Bale the Dragon Lord, I believe. Or I believe it's Bale the Dread, I'm not sure. But those two boss fights were also amazing and all from the DLC and were super tough and made me, cry most of the time. But it was such an annoying fight that I had to mention it over here. Now, as you have already suspected, number one is definitely going to be Consort Redan. So actually, Promised Consort Redan is from the DLC, and despite me being, level 200 with 15, I believe, on the Scarutry Blessing, this was nothing for this boss. He easily killed me, I believe 15 to 20 times before I could even reach to the second phase. And even after that, I got one-shotted, maybe I would say another 20 times. So obviously, I had to find certain ways to kill this boss, and eventually I found that if I use strength plus arcane build and then get myself a great shield and Mog's spear to plus 10, that I might have a chance on defeating this boss. So that's exactly that I did, and it still took me 5 times to defeat this boss. And as you can see, guys, the reason behind that is because he has such large area attacks, and on top of that, he has such powerful attacks that he one-shots you most of the time. So that's the reason that he's number 1 on the list. And hope you guys enjoy this video, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe so that I can bring more amazing content to the channel. Thanks and bye.